Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Well, we've been marveling at how the Ottawa Senators season has gone this year, Grant. A lot of people thought they were going to finish 7th. They kind of fell back a little bit in the drive and finish 8th, and will take on the Rangers instead of Boston. That perhaps is good news for them.
They had a good year against them.
3-1. And so all this hype that we've been hearing against the Rangers, yeah, in the regular season, in the playoffs, another thing. I don't think, and it all becomes down to goaltending for New York too. I mean,
what do you mean?
Henrik
is good.
He is, but how many times have you seen him in the playoffs? I mean, great regular season, get tired in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So,
to me, that's not a big concern. I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I know you're just throwing it out there, and I'm disagreeing with you.
Okay, that's good.
I think this is offense versus defense. Ottawa's has great offense from Spezza, Alfredson, Erik Karlsson on the back end, and Mahalik too. So it's offense of Ottawa against a tight defense and good goaltending of the New York Rangers.
Good goal scoring too, Gabrick.
I know, but they're more shut down.
System oriented. Yeah.
They can score goals. I'm not saying the Rangers can't score goals, but generally it's a tight system. I think that's going to beat Ottawa. You were talking about a team that's coming on the rise, has to learn to get so far, then they fall back, like the Oilers and the Islanders. I think that maybe is where Ottawa is. They're coming back, but not good enough yet to beat Rangers over a 7-game series. You have to go with the Rangers here in 6.
Yeah, I was agreeing. I was going to say 5, and I was going to say 3 games before Tortorella blows a fuse.
Yeah.
Boston at the Capitals. This isn't your typical 2 versus 7th seed. The Washington Capitals, to me, have the potential to be a very dangerous team. Everyone was pointing the finger at them all year. They have defeated the Bruins 3-1 in their series this year. And I tell you what, Ovechkin is on fire of late. Is Semin going to be effective? Is Backstrom going to be healthy enough?
Good enough to play.
Is Mike Green going to be healthy?
He's playing better, though.
Yes.
Some people say Mike Green might be the straw that stirs the stick in, that stirs the drink, I should say.
Well, there's a lot of people that think Mike likes to stir drinks, period.
I know. Yeah, that's right. But he might be the catalyst of that team more so than Ovechkin. Big concern with Washington is goaltending. Thomas Vokoun injured.
Yep.
Will he come back and ever play? Michael Neuwirth? Injured, but might play.
Sure.
So is it Brayden Holtby, the guy? So that in goaltending is the big concern for the Capitals. I think if they had Vokoun, they were better in goal or more solid in goal, yeah, maybe they could give Boston a run for the money. I don't think Washington is good enough defensively, strong enough, physically strong enough on the back end, on the blue line. Alsner, Schultz, those kind of guys, they're okay. Not good enough to beat Boston. Here's something, though. Boston was at 10 points better, I think, than Washington, but most of those points, the difference was coming in shootouts. So they're closer in points than you might think. But I'd say Boston in 5.
Timmy Thomas, they finally got him some rest. And Rask is apparently going to be ready for the playoffs. They still have some question marks. Horton probably won't play. McQuaid with that eye injury, not sure if he's going to play. And Johnny Boychuk apparently going to start when the series starts Thursday. So they have a little banged up, some banged up bodies. Question is about this, defending your Stanley Cup championship. Only one team has done it in the last little while, 1997, Detroit. So it's a long road, Grant. It's grueling.
Short summer.
Yep.
Not enough time to relax. Rest the body, get going again. So, yeah, Boston's still the better team against Washington, but long term in the playoffs, that's a whole different story. We'll talk probably about that a little later on, but I think Boston's good enough. Boston is good enough to beat Washington
in 6
in the first round.
In mine. How about you?
I say 5. Bruins in 5.
Okay. We'll take a short break. When we come back, perhaps the most talked about series in the playoffs, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
Feeling the winter chill? Call the experts at Simply Yours Windows and Doors. Get the job done right, on time, and on budget. Their #1 concern is your comfort.
Grant, I think one of the most exciting matchups, and Scott Hartnell has gone on record saying this is going to be a bloodbath. Philadelphia and the Pittsburgh Penguins hate each other. They've had players jump ship. They've had a rivalry that's intense. The last couple of games in the last week has been unbelievable. Brawls, fights. Each team has won. It's
coaches arguing, standing on the boards, arguing.
Fine, and oh man, it's just been awesome to watch. I mean, it was playoff time a week ago with these two teams, and guys giving Sidney Crosby a rough time. But right now, the question mark is Philadelphia still got some banged up players. They've got a banged up goaltender.
Pittsburgh's healthy.
Pittsburgh's healthy. Letang's back, Crosby's back, Stahl's back. They are ready to go. To me, this is their season to lose. But they could get the crap beat out of them by Philadelphia.
So who would they play in the second round then? If they do even get by them, they could be beaten up pretty bad.
That's the thing, yeah.
I like Pittsburgh here,
So
though.
do I.
I think Pittsburgh's got enough. I think they can withstand the crap. Philly, as you say, is beaten up with who knows about Daniel Briere. We don't know about if he's playing. Van Riemsdyk is a good player, and David Mesros on defense. So there are three key starters right there, questionable before the series begins.
And Brizgalov, is he with that sore foot?
And then there's Brizgalov, who's nicked, who's probably going to play, and then the uncertainty of Brizgalov, so I don't know. I think you got to go with Pittsburgh here, Mike. Sometimes when things are built up so much, they can't live up to all that hype. This might be the exception. I can't stand in team sports when they say, these teams don't like each other. I hate that expression. Because I always say to the players, and I've joked with some of the Flames, is there any teams that you like? Of course not, they're going to say that. But I think in this case, it's true. There is real animosity. They're in the same state. It's Edmonton versus Calgary. It's a battle of the Keystone State, Pennsylvania.
Sure.
So it is legitimate, and there is, on the record, as you say, Scott Hartnell, there is things happening in the past that would lead you to believe that there is bad blood. But Pittsburgh, even if the Flyers are healthy, Pittsburgh's the better team.
You know, they've been rivals for a while. But even if you look at someone like Chicago and Vancouver, who've become recent rivals, hatred is a good word.
Because of the playoffs.
Because of the playoffs. And so I think this is kind of going to be the same kind of thing. The one thing I will say this about Philadelphia, and when you're watching them, one reason I like Philadelphia is because they have a character. They have an identity. They are tough.
They've got Scott Hartnell. That's what you're talking about.
Sure.
He is their character guy.
He is. And you know what? He's the kind of guy, like, remember what we used to say about Doug Riseborough? God, I hate Doug Riseborough. But if he was on your team, he's the guy you love to have because he's tough. He will score goals. He will set plays up. He will put his nose in where no one else will. He will win at all costs, and he's smiling.
He's got that personality.
Yeah, he's just out having fun with it.
I think that's really important.
Sure.
If you want to
And if he
digress
loses,
to the Flames
he gets
conversation,
pissed off.
No, but and few teams have that.
Yeah.
Flames certainly don't have that Scott Hartnell type. That is what they call a team identity,
yes.
A team personality led by Scott Hartnell. Maybe not the best player on the team, but certainly is the personality of the team. I think that goes a long ways in bringing players to play better.
It's a good captain candidate, isn't it?
Yes.
Having that kind of trait.
Love to have him on the Flames.
Yeah. Devils in Florida.
Interesting matchup. Yeah, I know you could fall asleep. Yeah. So you got nothing to say to set this one. No.
No.
Everybody probably says the same thing. Name a player on Florida Panthers. Probably can't.
Yeah.
First time in the playoffs since 2000. That's pretty darn good.
Let's give Dale Talon some credit.
Yes. And Kevin Dineen.
Sure.
This guy has, remember, he used to play for the Hartford Whalers.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Under his dad. His dad was the coach.
That's right. Bill Dineen.
That's right.
Bill Dineen. In the minors for a long time, Kevin Dineen's coaching. Now he's in the NHL. I think players like playing for him. Dale Talon, he was instrumental in building up the Chicago Blackhawks team that we have today. Overspent a few times, made a few managerial mistakes. Who doesn't? But goes to Florida and has built that team up.
Gets fired, though. gets fired.
In Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago.
But he was instrumental in,
Sure he was,
in
Grant.
getting a lot of those guys. And he's a former broadcaster.
First round draft choice for the Canucks. Absolutely.
So
give them credit because this team was bad.
It was bad.
Bad.
And he overpaid to get a lot of guys to come to that team, like Chris Versteeg, Brian Campbell, the guy who he paid big money to in Chicago.
Yeah.
But Brian Campbell is a good player, just makes a lot of money. So they're like a Jay Bouwmeester kind of philosophy where he makes so much money, but still is a very good player. Anyways, so Florida's back in there. To me, that's a feel-good thing. The guy who coached Florida the last few years, Peter DeBoer, now coaching the New Jersey Devils. And Mike, who knows anything about the Devils? We talk about the Rangers, we talk about the Bruins, we talk about the Flyers, the Penguins in the East. New Jersey Devils, 102 points. That's outstanding.
They were bad last year. So bad.
6-game winning streak going into the playoffs. Zach Parise, who else is on that team? Zach Parise. Kovalchuk was in the top 10 in scoring. This is a very good team that nobody thinks a whole lot of because they're kind of beige. But they're a good beige right now.
Yeah.
The Devils could be the dark horse in the East, in my opinion. Not just in the first round. I think they'll win the first round. Beyond that feel-good story for the Panthers, Mike, I think the Devils will win this series in 5 games. Yeah, 5 games. And they could.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, you know, if Pittsburgh comes out of the Philadelphia series banged up, would they play in the next round? Possibly.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that, the line you said, you know, quietly, silently, this Devils team has just come up. And
Zach Parise and Kovalchuk.
this might be his last hurrah there, too, right?
Martin Brodeur.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Zach Parise, a free agent. Maybe Martin Brodeur might retire. So watch out for the New Jersey Devils.
Can anybody beat Pittsburgh in this East?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Look pretty hard.
I don't think so. I say New Jersey's the dark horse, and then what if Pittsburgh comes out banged up? What if that Flyer-Penguin series goes 7 games? There's fights like we all think there might be. There's just, mind you, there isn't much fighting going on in the playoffs, but there's a lot of hitting. There's a lot of hitting. So
it is Philadelphia. Anything can happen.
Yeah, so if the Penguins come out banged up, key players, maybe that opens a door for the Devils. But, you know, looking right now on paper, I think it's the Penguins to win the East.